This is a follow-up. We promised we'd follow up on VPHM, the free pick from last night. The two trigger prices we had on it, we liked it if it broke, let me look at my notes here, 583. Let me show you the daily real quick. It didn't end up closing too bad. The two trigger prices were break of Thursday's high, 583, or a break of this high from April 30th, which would have been a 593 trigger. Okay, let's go to the intraday now and see what happened. It opened at 587, so it opened above our first trigger. So that's a gap above a trigger. We usually leave it alone for 5 minutes and see what happens. However, we had the 593 idea also. Okay, now we also say don't take any picks in the first 5 minutes. They tend to fail. And however, you can take it in the first 5 minutes. It's up to your own discretion. We caution against it, but if you do, take quick profits. So 593, it did hit right about here. Remember, this is the first 5 minute candle here, so it did hit and went quickly to 611, but then also quickly reversed, which just goes to show that if you take that trigger in the first 5 minutes, you're setting yourself up for a possible loss there. I was completely out at 605 because of the first 5 minute rule. Okay, then we switched to 15s and see if there's a way to play the pullback. We had consecutive lower tops here, nice green candles. So one other possible way to play it was a first break of a previous 15s high after at least three were formed. That's one of the methods we teach. 592 was the trigger, and stop goes below the previous at 578. What is that? 14 cent risk. And from 592, it quickly went to 597 and right back down. It ended up being extremely boring all day. So I did take a small profit in the first 5 minute candle, but after that, somebody drew my attention in the chat room. We had HBAN, Huntington Bank shares on our watch list as well, and I'll show you why due to this gap up here. Okay, look at yesterday, gapped up and then sold off, but above yesterday's high had tons of room. No consolidation to the left over here, had tons of room to run. Well, everyone who shorted this yesterday wakes up today and every one of them's in trouble. Okay, the people that were thinking they were smart shorting going into the stress test, right? So every one of them woke up today with that uh-oh feeling in their stomach. And that's why I don't short going into a news item, or do I go, nor do I go long going into a news item. I'd rather wait for a proper setup. This one was awesome. HBAN, the first 5 minutes had a 10 cent range in this first 5 minute candle. So we jumped all over this as it broke the 5 minute high. Okay, 466 was our call, and our stop was below the 5 minute low at 454. That's a 12 cent risk. And from 466, I don't know, about 30 minutes in, it's already at 550 and ultimately hit 569 for a profit potential of 22% if you sold up here from this entry, and really a 12 cent risk. And that was the biggest call of the day probably, and many of us were celebrating, including me on that one. So HBAN ended up being much more exciting than VPHM. We also had a couple other calls using our intraday methods today that were very big. VRSN, using our methods, gave us an entry of 2310, ended up going to 2456 without ever hitting our stop, for a profit potential there of almost $1,500 for each 1,000 shares. That's potential, by the way, but I scaled out into that one nicely. Excuse me. And SD, Sandridge Energy, also using our intraday methods, very tight stop, gave us a trigger of 1075, and it went to 1182 without ever hitting our stop too. So another nice one there. And then one of our low price penny ones we've been playing with lately, P-Wave, following our methods, gave us an entry of 96 cents, which would have been right down here. And the stop risk was about a nickel, and it never got hit. I think the stop was at 91. And from 96 went all the way to $1.33 on huge volume for that stock. And I got a private message from a member today thanking me. He said he played that one huge. He just loved everything about it. We've been watching this one for a week, so it was a nice setup today with a 5 cent risk. And from 96 to, again, $1.33 for a 38% profit potential in that one today on a 5 cent risk. So really big day there. I copied a couple messages got from members today. One of them sent me a private message in chat. The system works great. Paid for nearly 2 semesters of his kids' college today, so that was pretty cool to hear. And then another a member, first week with us, and they're up over 5,000, and they're really enjoying the group too. So love the feedback. But anyway, again, if you notice, if you're not a member, if you notice, all of our entries are based on low risk entries, or we don't take them. I mean, a nickel stop here, H-band, less than or about a dime stop, 12-cent stop, and gave us a, what did we say, 22% profit potential today. So have a great weekend, everyone, and hopefully next week's pick will be a little more exciting than VPHM. Talk to you next week.